What we're going to talk about here is basically the difference between utility, facts, and truths. All right, and we're going to start with a quote from Harari, where he says that science is about the search for utility, not truth. And we'll examine that a little bit. What he says is, in the modern deal, we really have these two pillars. One is facts and one is values. And the fact side is the science side. It's focused on the power of how to, and it's focused on what is. But it's what is for sapiens, not some objective reality of what is. So even things like scientific truths are facts within boundaries of how sapiens looks at the world. So like 1 plus 1 equals 2 is, but 1 plus 1 equals 10 in binary. So there's, even though it's a scientific fact or a truth, it's just within the boundaries of a particular system. So facts, basically, we're saying are truth for sapiens within bounds. And so that basically means that facts are focused on what makes sense, what's the utility for sapiens themselves. Now, if we look at the values side, the values is about the ought, right? What the world ought to be. And it's mainly about preferences, right? So there's not an objective reality ought. It's what's ought for sapiens again. So let's look at decisions. And we have decisions. If we're making a decision between two values, we're really saying, okay, then what is somebody's preference, all right? Because you're not really going to be able to get facts. But one of the challenges that we've seen in science is that even our preferences, we're now finding out are somewhat determined and also changeable. So therefore, and they are focused just on us, our preferences. So they're again back to the concept of utility. So the ought side are based on utility, and the is side seem to be based on utility. So let's look at decisions. The biggest challenge is decisions when they're between facts and values. And Lakoff tells us that it really matters. What matters is the way we frame the narrative. And if we frame the narrative in facts versus values, we really can't have an intelligent conversation, if you will. Like if you take healthcare and you have one group arguing the facts of insurance and the other group arguing the value of services of healthcare themselves, they're never going to meet. Climate change, we have the same kind of thing where we have people arguing climate change with regards to the facts about jobs and the other talking about the quality of life. Well, you're never going to be able to have an intelligent conversation between those two. The thing is that let's look at the baby boomers, right? And the baby boomers whom I actually am part of, but I call us now the bully boomers because we've just used our size to bully our way around for a while. But the bully boomers basically are leaving a world that is choking. And do you really think that it's facts and intelligence that has led us to the choking world, or is really your values and our preferences that are leaving us to where we're willing to let and brutalize the planet itself? So if we have basically arguments where they are facts versus facts and values versus values, then at least the narrative will be along the same path. Values versus values, we already talked about. The narrative is associated with the concept of preference. Now, there's an interesting idea, though, that Harari brings forth when he talks about the fact that religion, which is on the values and the ought side, really consists of religious statements consist of three main pieces. One is an ethical judgment. The other is actually factual statements that are inside there. And the other is the conflation of the ethical and the factual. So basically, the factual statements inside of our preference give us an area where we actually may be able to come up with a fact versus fact argument or a fact versus fact discussion. And we're able to really use intelligence in order to solve facts versus facts rather than basing it on just values. So let's look again at the more complex decision process, which is where we're having facts versus values. And basically what we're saying is we're going to advantage on the fact side anything that we're going to advantage facts all the time because it's based upon science over value, which is based upon religion. So facts about what is over value of what ought to be makes sense if we're talking about what was going on today. So does intelligence itself even need consciousness? If in essence what we're saying is that consciousness is basically focused on the ought, since it's not on the radar of what is it's intelligence enough. And if intelligence is enough, isn't it possible that on our planet, if we have an intelligent species, or even if it be inorganic, that becomes the new decision vehicle, and so that the inorganic is basically creates their own utility, and that's what we see as the future for the planet Earth. Anyway, that's just my thoughts about utility, facts, and truth, based upon what some of the conversation or some of the things that I've learned by reading Harari. Thank you.